find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
Say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
To round 10 of the Radical Race Series here for Season 1 in 2024. It's time for the Temple of Speed, the tremendously high-speed circuit here at Monza, ready to be raced on for the 10th round of our championship. The reason why I mention the speed, of course, is because we're taking out the first chicane here this evening. We're on an extra high-speed version of this racetrack here this evening, ready for the third last round of the season. And with the championship battle hotting up, every race from here on in is going to be very important indeed. My name's Ewan O'Leary, alongside James Parfitt here for tonight's racing. And it is going to be interesting. Monza normally is a great place to go, but it's especially going to be the case here today with such high speeds and no first chicane, which is the site of a lot of chaos normally.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. I think no chicane in these SR10s straight down. Oh my dearie me. It's going to be absolutely epic and I cannot wait.
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be fantastic to see this 10th round of the championship. Let's have a look at the championship standings before we go any further here this evening. There's a 17-point gap between Simon Edwards and John McCutcheon going into today. And then it's Mike Booton. All of the drivers below them, by the way, not really involved in the championship battle anymore. In fact, are not mathematically. Booton's just ahead of Maxwell, who is fourth, ahead of Adam Tighe. Then we've got Paul Clark, James Barry, George Gonzaga, all those drivers separated by not many points. Paul LeMay there as well. Bit of a gap back to Michael LeMay, who's only 3 points ahead of David Walter for 10th. Phil Glover chasing for that position too, with James Brooke Ritchie and Phil Jocelyn. In the 15th place, it's Damien G ahead of Jamie Bird and Robert Woodward, only separated by a point. Then we've got Jeff McIntyre 18th ahead of Paul Crabb and Sergio De La Cruz to round out the top 20. And then those who haven't really attended very often this season, unfortunately. Ben Cooper, Dan Webster, Leah Anderson, David Beasley, Martina Ward, Colin Wynn, Graham Brown, Stuart Geddes and Aaron Thompson, all drivers who have appeared for 3 rounds or less, 2 rounds or less even, for this season. So there's your championship standing. 17 points between Edwards and McCutcheon is the important gap, but with McCutcheon not here, that is a bit of a concern in terms of the championship for us.
Yeah, he's still got 5 minutes to go, and he does jump in towards the end of quali. So I'm praying that he's going to be here. Otherwise, this is going to be done. And I know we've said mathematically it's not, but I still think theoretically it would be over. It would be Simon Edwards' 6th championship.
Well, I believe so. I mean, let's just talk a little bit about the maths behind that. John McCutcheon wasn't here last week either, of course, and so scored 46 points. But Simon Edwards also had his drop round after 2 incidents on the last lap of both races, which we'll go and talk about as well. But he scored 53, which is a gain of 7 on the day, so it doesn't sound like an awful lot in reality, but actually at this stage in the season, it certainly is. And especially now because of his remaining drop rounds. So in the last 2 rounds, if this round is not a drop round anyway, excuse me, in the last 2 rounds he can drop a maximum of 31 points. Now, if today is a drop round for him, then Simon Edwards would gain a minimum of 13 on John McCutcheon, which gives him a gap of 30 with John McCutcheon, a maximum of 31 to gain. So what it would mean is that John McCutcheon would have to win all 4 races in the final 2 rounds, and Edwards would have to have a bit of a disaster. So that's why I say that it's mathematically possible for him to catch, but it's not realistic if he doesn't turn up tonight.
No, but it's a challenge, isn't it? Let's be real about it. It is definitely a challenge, and I think it's one that I don't really know how to put it, because I want this championship to go down to the fight, to go down to the wire, but I'm just struggling to see with the consistency of Simon Edwards. And I know John's a warrior, and I love John deeply, and he is the Scottish William Wallace of SR10. He never gives up. You know, you may take my championship, but you're never going to take the win. He is all, I get all that. I just finding it really hard with Simon's consistency, and he has been super consistent this season.
He has, but he has been complaining a little bit last night about the track. Well, not necessarily the track, but his driving on the track, I think, is what he's been complaining about. He said last night that he's still feeling, not even last night, at 4:30 this afternoon, he said that he's not feeling great around here, and said that practice didn't go very well last night, couldn't get into the circuit, and he's predicting a bit of a pile-up into the second chicane on lap 1 as well. We'll get to lap 1, but first of all on Simon Edwards, I mean, he does say that, I don't want to say often, but he does say it probably more often than is actually reality, because he forgets obviously that he's probably a better driver than 90% of the field, and that's no disrespect to everybody else. He's just a very strong driver and one of the very best in the world in the SR10 and SR8.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I think that's the thing with Simon. He does sandbag a little bit, you know what I mean? And before you know it, he's top of the time and tower, winning by 5 seconds, and you're like, come on, you know what I mean? Mr. Edwards, I think we need a chat. You know, so I don't know. I like, maybe he's just very good at mental games. You know, that mind messing with all the other drivers and giving them that brief moment of hope, and then he comes into the race and completely just obliterates their hope process, and it just goes out the window. I don't know, but I think overall it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. That first run, they are going to clock up an insurmountable amount of speed here. Let's see if Crab does he go round, or has he stopped? Oh, he just goes and stops there, unfortunately. I was going to see if we can get sort of a rough idea of how many miles per hour they're going to be clocking down the straight. Let's see if Phil stays out. He does stay out. He's got about 1:23. Let's have a look and see what he clocks here as well, because I think he's going to be touching at least 160, maybe 165, if he can just get a little bit more. Oh, he has just one. Oh, still going.
Might get 170 here, although he will have to go around the Curva Grande, I suppose, and he'll just scrub off a bit of speed with the resistance. Well, not that much, actually. He'll maybe touch 170. Simon Edwards might touch 170 with the lower wing, because we know that he does sometimes do that. You can imagine, though, that Simon Edwards, well, not just him, actually, a lot of the drivers have gone for very low downforce setups today.
Oh yeah, they're not going to be running a wing. They've obviously got it on the car, but I would be very surprised if it's set very high. I think it would be a very low, skinny wing that basically is just enough to keep the back end on the floor. I don't know how much it's going to be doing. I know at 165 miles an hour plus here, it's going to be working its absolute butt off. But I think overall it's going to be interesting as Maxwell. You might be able to see the difference there, because Maxwell top 172. Jocelyn didn't get near that. So unless Jocelyn's wing's a little bit fatter than Maxwell, producing more drag, and he's not going to be able to get it down. But you can see 170 at the 100 metre and then down to 60. Wow, that's going to be a big old braking zone.
Luke Maxwell, top of practice then as we go into qualifying. However, he won't top qualifying, Luke Maxwell, and I can say that with confidence already, because he has been issued a pit lane start for this round at Monza, or at least, I should say, the next round that he participates in is what it is legally noted as by the stewards, but since he's at this round, he will have to take it in race 1 here tonight. He incurred 3 warnings in the same season for, the same incidents. Now, he wasn't given any penalty for the first incident we saw at Road Atlanta in the sprint race near the end with Simon Edwards, because as the steward said, he made a proactive effort to give the place back, and he did legitimately give the place back. So his penalty that he would have got on his licence points and his 5 championship points taken away were not in the end, and it was deducted to just a warning because he gave the place back. But in the second race, he didn't give the place back, partly because it was the last lap, but that doesn't matter as far as the stewards are concerned. And so he's been given a 2 licence point penalty and 5 championship points deducted for the incident on the final lap. I find it interesting that he was judged at fault for both of them. Not necessarily one I totally agree with, although my memory fading of the incident rather rapidly. The stewards will have had a million looks at it. We had about 3. So it's fair to say that they've had a better look at it than us. But he will have to start from the pit lane. Too many licence point penalties accumulated, some rather meaningless championship points eliminated as well. That just puts him further out of contention and further out of the running for the 3rd place, by the way, which he's going to have to really fight hard to get. But that's the news from the stewards room at the end of Road Atlanta, and he's been given a pit lane start for this race as a result of it.
I'm trying to think what that last lap one was.
What do you mean? They were fighting for the win, and they hit each other twice on the last lap in both races. Well, I'm not sure if it was the last lap in the sprint race, but it definitely wasn't the feature race, and it allowed Mike Booson to win.
Oh, that was coming into turn 10A and 10B, wasn't it? I think it was the final chicane both times, actually. Yeah. Hold on. I think me and the stewards might need to have a word about that. I don't know how... If my memory serves me correctly, I don't know how legitimately they were expecting him to give the place back, because he would have lost a ton of points waiting.
No, they wouldn't have expected him to give the place back. However, if he's at fault for it, then he would be given a penalty. But by giving the places back, he would get rid of that. So they're not expecting him to give the place back, but they're just saying that if you do, then you will get it reduced to a warning. At least in this case, that's probably not the case in every situation.
Oh, right, okay. Do you know what? That stumped me. I'm going to have to go and refresh my memory if that was if that happened.
I'll say it was 6 nights ago. I've slept 6 times since then, at least, and we only saw it about a few times on the night anyway. So it's hard to make any too large judgments at this stage from our side. But let's get on to qualifying. Maxwell not a part of it, of course, but plenty of drivers are, including Simon Edwards, who will be favourite to take pole from here. He will set the benchmark, as he so often does, and there it is, ready for everybody else to beat. What about Paul Clark? He's probably most likely to do so immediately here. That 35.6 set by Edwards, the current benchmark. And what is Paul Clark going to do? He's going to go 3rd, even behind Michael LeMay, in fact, 4 tenths behind. Jimmy Bird slots up to 2nd place. Jeff McIntyre with a couple of purple sectors towards the end. What's he going to do? He goes to 3rd, just 3 tenths away, less than 3 tenths away, in fact. James Barry goes to the top. 5 purple. Oh, and Gonzaga as well. The times are coming down. And open qualifying means that a slipstream will really benefit you.
Oh, a draft all day, baby. You want to get a draft. Leo, Phil. Good evening, Phil. Evening, James and you. Good evening, buddy. Let's go, Jeff and Dave, she said. So Jeff McIntyre and...
David Walters, I suppose.
David Walters or Dave Beasley? Which one do you reckon? It looks like David Walters, actually, because they both got the similar livery on, just one's green and one's red. So, I'm going to go with that one. But they're clearly working together. What they don't want to do, though, as we've seen so many times, and Ferrari are very good at it, is trip over each other. So they want to be a little bit more careful there as well. Jeff's got Flying Haggis on the back of his rear wing. Michael's got Slow Pro on the back of his. So, there we go. Flying Haggis and Slow Pro.
Is he Scottish then, I suppose?
Yes. McIntyre.
I guess he must be. Yeah, I guess so. Should have guessed with McIntyre, really, but I didn't want to make a judgment like that. James McRitchie comes over the line right now then. He will move up from 9th, you'd imagine, with this lap time. Really will move up. 5th place for him, ahead of McIntyre, in fact. Graham Brown moves into the top 10 now as well. But not many purple sectors coming in on this second lap, interestingly.
Yeah, not at the moment, which seems a little bit strange considering it's normally lap 2 to 3 where we start seeing faster times. Barry's got 2 purples. He's going to go, he should go back up to the top, I think. He has on a 1:35.327, so a great job there for James Barry. He has done it as well, but then Gonzaga's not too far behind at all. So Simon Edwards are currently in 3rd. Beasley's got some greens on the board as well, but Edwards has got a green and a purple as he's on that run now down into the Ascari.
Yeah, he must be on a good lap here. You can already see that he is. He's gone quicker than himself in the first sector and quicker than everyone in the second. What about the third, which really only includes the 2 Lesmos? And no, not a good third sector on this lap. There are 5 counted, by the way. It's quite nicely divided up here at this circuit, by the way. The start finish line to the first chicane of this layout is the first sector. That chicane is another sector. Then you've got the 2 Lesmos for the third, Ascari for the 4th, and Parabolica for the 5th. So it does divide it up very nicely, although Simon Edwards has not made a good job of 3 and 4, I'm afraid. He will come up towards the line, though, and try and find a third of a second. That's what he needs right now to take this pole position. He goes over the line, and it will be an improvement, but not a place improvement from him. I do wonder, he always goes out first for the free track position, of course, but I do wonder whether this running on his own with no slipstream has been a bad call for this round.
Yeah, I'm just starting to think now. That was my first consideration when he hasn't been gone into first. And, you know, we know he's got a skinny wing, and that's fine. And he's probably running with nothing. So I do understand that, but the draft is still considerably more. You know, Barry's got an improvement, 1:35.334. Gonzaga, 1:35.708. Come on, George, you can do this tonight. Let's get a win on the board there as well. Or Paul Clark. I missed Paul's win, his first win last time out as well, and he wasn't happy with me. So go Paul. But Jeff and David Waters working together here as well. Michael LeMay's got a green on the board at the moment, but again, he's on his own on track. He's just on his way around Lesmo 2 before the guys in 4th and 5th, which is Barry and McRitchie here as well. So yeah, still battles, still action, and it's going to be a fun 2 minutes.
It is. If we get any faster times, that is. I'm getting slightly discouraged by the bottom of the screen and the amount of yellow instead of the amount of green. James McRitchie's certainly not going to improve on this lap. He needs to get out of the way of Michael LeMay, in fact, who's roaring around Ascari at the moment, and might even offer up a little bit of wind break from Michael LeMay. There he goes past on the left-hand side. Now Jamie Bird's gone purple in the second sector. Maybe he's going to go a little bit quicker from 5th position. And for once, Jamie Bird is qualifying well. He's not going to have to come from the back of the field, hopefully, in this round, unless it's from race 2 where he's put to the back after a reverse grid. But so often does he needlessly put himself at the back of the field when he's got good speed. Hopefully today is not going to be one of those days. Up towards the line for Jamie Bird. It's going to be a good time from him, I think. Not an improvement, though. It's the 36.0. James Barry goes into the pit lane. Maybe he believes that he's done enough for pole.
Mike Busson's on his way down to the line again. Another one flying solo here as well. The man from Somerset coming off his win last week, and he's now in 10th. So that's a bit of a check back to reality for him. Edwards has got greens in there as well, but he's also got a yellow. He's got to be careful of these off tracks at Monza. They are tight, Ewan. They are considerably tight.
They are. You've got to be careful. And of course, for those 3 bonus points as well, if you avoid any off tracks or incident points, then you get an extra 3 points added to your name. So worth having. You might as well give it a go, especially around a circuit like this with not many corners on it. Simon Edwards, the most likely driver now to take over this pole position. Jamie Bird also out there, but he's not going any quicker in the opening 2 sectors, although Simon Edwards hasn't been any quicker through the last 3, so this is looking pretty dire for those looking to displace James Barry or even George Gonzaga from the front row. This order hasn't changed in the last 5 minutes or so now, and it might well not do for the remainder. Simon Edwards not quick enough here. It doesn't look like Jamie Bird is going to be either, but we may well have our front row.
Yeah, we have, I think. Keeping an eye on Damien G. He's got some improvements as well. Is he going to bump himself up from 13th? I could probably safely say, oh, no, he's not. That's the end of that one. So there you go. I can guarantee this grid will not stay the same, but it's on your screen for you there, sir, as well.
It certainly won't be, even into the first braking zone. James Barry and George Gonzaga will be on the front row nevertheless, ahead of five-time champion Simon Edwards. James Ritchie with a good performance to get to fourth, ahead of Jamie Bird and Graham Brown. Jeff McIntyre and Michael LeMay will share row 4, ahead of David Walters, who shows good speed in practice, maybe less so in qualifying. He's ninth ahead of Mike Bousson, the race winner from Road Atlanta. Paul Clark and Paul Crabb will share row 6. In 13th position, if Irising wants to show it to us. There we go. Jamie G will be alongside Phil Glover. David Beasley will be with Phil Jocelyn next to Luke Maxwell, who couldn't qualify. Paul LeMay, who didn't qualify. Neither did Adam Tighe. All of those guys up towards the top in the championship, along with John McCutcheon, who is here in time.
Just sneaked into the bottom, did John. So fair play to him there as well. Wow. How's it going to work out here? What do we think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know. As I said earlier, people are predicting a bit of a smash and a crash into the second chicane. I've got faith that there's not going to be one.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out in very, very shortly for 9-lap sprint race here as well. Don't forget, coming up after this, of course, we have got a 15-lap feature here given as well. Lights coming on.
Yep, here we go. The lights are coming on. Maxwell starting from the pit lane, of course, with LeMay and Tighe still in pit lane too. The lights will go out now. We're underway for the first race here at Monza. It's a good start from Gonzaga, although the second phase he couldn't really get alongside James Barry on the way towards the Curva Grande, which is turn 1, of course, at this layout. No big stop down in towards turn 1 as normal. It's Simon Edwards. Oh, 4 wide very nearly. As down the inside goes Jamie Bird, flying into the lead of this race at Monza already. James Barry displaced from the front with the slipstream. He's getting overtaken left, right and centre. Down into the second chicane they go. Will the big crash materialise? It will a little bit. Michael LeMay has gone around. Paul Crabb has hit into him. Looks like David Walters involved as well. It's been clean for the top 5 or 6, but for the rest of the field it's been a struggle. And here goes James Barry up the inside of Lesmo at 2 even, and he gets back to the lead.
Oh man, 4 wide, what chaos that would have been there as well if they'd even remotely tried doing that all the way through. Jamie Bird, go on, he is battling like a trooper. Edwards is trying to come back through as they're going side by side now into Ascari. Bird's on the outside, Edwards on the inside. He gets it, Edwards does there as well. Looks like Jeff McIntyre's off the side of the circuit here as well. Damien G still managing to keep going. James Ritchie, Graham Brown, boosts on 3 wide as well, going into the final corner.
And what happened to James Barry? Because he's lost the lead now to Edwards, and he's lost second as well. Jamie Bird breaks too late into Parabolica. He goes way wide, and now he's being overtaken by everybody. And now watch out for the slipstream. This is going to be madness on the front straight. James Barry's going to have a chance to get back to the lead with 3 wide already in the background. James Ritchie is going to be in the middle very soon with Mike Bousson on the very right-hand side. Here we go into the Curva Grande. It's going to be James Barry who's going to get to the lead right now. Ahead of Edwards, they'll be pleased to run single file, but those behind certainly won't. It'll be Jamie Bird getting dragged into this one, with Brown getting side by side with James Ritchie at the moment. Into the second chicane they go for the second time, and they're single file back again for the top 10 or so involved in this group, and they involve John McCutcheon.
Oh, McCutcheon up 11 places, the Scotsman. He stayed clean. He's just now gone up 12. Is he going to get Bousson? What sort of fight is Bousson going to put up? Probably not a lot here. He knows John. There you go. He's going to let him through there. Oh, Bousson's got to slow down anyway. Make no difference for John McCutcheon. Now he's on the trail of James Ritchie. The draft is strong in this one, young Padawan. Here, so some great action. Gonzaga, Edwards and Barry there as well. So some great action so far.
Yeah, McCutcheon's got to be careful he doesn't lose the slipstream of the front group now. The top 6 getting away slightly as James Barry pulls off to the left again, does he? Well, he's weaving around a little bit. George Gonzaga's going to be overtaken now by Jamie Bird. A lot of overtaking into the final corner already today. Wasn't expecting to see this, but with the straight coming up immediately afterwards, there's little point really. Gonzaga goes straight back down the inside again and will grab the slipstream of Barry and Edwards, who are both below that white line. That's always an argument as to whether that's actually on the racetrack or not. Well, Simon Edwards is using half his car on that side of the road to go through to the lead. On the inside, he goes in towards turn number 1, and he will take the lead here.
Yeah, he has done as well. But I think Barry's going to get there once more as he's going to come up now as well. Is Barry going to be able to hold on? He goes and sweeps to the outside. Edwards is late on the move. And there you go. The brakes. Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. They're going to try going in. Barry slots in behind. Oh! Edwards has made a mistake. Barry's going to get the outside run there as well. Oh, he just... Gonzaga's coming up. Bird's in this. It is all going off here tonight on that run. Down into the variante here.
No!
Gonzaga
off the road, and he's actually recovered very well, and he might be able to get back in the group here if he's quick. Maybe not. He can't quite catch the slipstream of Phil Glover, and he might well have his steering out of whack anyway. He'll be in the second group with Bousson and Beasley by the looks of things as McCutcheon moves up to the top 5. What an amazing race we're seeing so far, and high drama already. Here's the incident.
Yeah, George Gonzaga there as well. That was Graham Brown that got into him, and unfortunately George does spin round there. He does a couple of pirouettes, manages just to keep it out of the barrier, so his steering should be okay. But we've got this happening again with Barry and Edwards.
It's Bird down the inside first of all, then James Barry and James Ritchie. McCutcheon and Brown so close behind as well. What a fantastic group we're seeing so far. And below the white line he goes. Jamie Bird goes for the lead, and Barry's going through as well. McRitchie tries. Oh, there's contact. Edwards sends Bird into the wall, and there's a contact as well with one of the. It's Clark. Oh my goodness. Paul Clark has gone pirouetting and cartwheeling and all sorts into the catch fence as James Ritchie's off at the Curva Grande as well. It's a big accident here at Monza. There's so many big accidents, in fact. The front group now reduced to 4. This is the view from Paul Clark, who thought he was going to be safe, but no. And this is a sickening, wild ride for Paul Clark, who ends up in the forest at Monza very nearly.
Oh, look at that. Oh dear, it is such a good job. Paul Clark is not in VR here. This is full speed. There's Bird, boom, and then he just goes. He does not see him, and he's just, wow.
Goodness me.
If anybody
that is quite an accident.
Yeah, if anybody's seasick at home, I'm sorry, I do apologise. Phil Glover's in the top 5. Go, Phil!
What an amazing race we see so far. And by the way, that doesn't even go to the first incident which involved Bird and Edwards. I've got to say, first of all, can I say for the incident at Lesmo 1, I think Brown just turned straight into George Gonzaga. That's the first one dealt with. For the second one, I think Simon Edwards drove straight into Jamie Bird, I've got to be honest with you. That's what it looked like from the camera angle I saw anyway. I don't know if that was actually the case or not, as McCutcheon goes to the lead now of the field on the straight, and there you go. And then there was a third incident that we didn't see with McRitchie, who ended up in the gravel at Curva Grande somehow.
I will pick up on all of that. I just want to watch these guys here as well, with Jocelyn, Glover, Gonzaga there, and Bousson all coming through the field. They've Gonzaga and Bousson trying to recover. Glover's trying to hang on to a top 10 here as well. Jocelyn's going to just about to try and send it free wide going into the Ascari. They didn't send it through. Sorry to Varianti there as well. But this is what happened with Jamie Bird. Now, I'm not really sure where you would look at putting the blame on this. It's a very hard one. We need to kind of be on the chopper before we can kind of get there, I think, because I think it's going to be a tough one to determine. He is, that's one touch. I think Bird was heading back on. And
but look at the grass, though. He's got to head back on.
And then McRitchie comes along here as well. Is this with Edwards again? Paul Simon.
Edwards is up the road by this point. I've no idea how McRitchie's found himself off the road, because he's on his own now.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how he got there, but however he did get there, he did it not long after, I think.
Oh, he's going slowly. And
there
he
we go.
shuffled out wide by Glover, does he? Well, he gets into the gravel and just seems to retire almost from the race. So I don't know what that was all about, but I was speculating actually whether Edwards had damage as a result of that contact, but clearly he doesn't. He's just set the fastest lap of the race at 34.9, and he's clinging on to the slipstream of the front two. James Barry and John McCutcheon exchanging places again.
Yeah, there's always been a little bit of a ta-ta-ta history here with these front two as well. They've exchanged wedding vows quite a few times, and trust me, it isn't love till death do us part, I can tell you that much as well. So I'm hoping this one stays clean, otherwise it could end up bringing more fireworks than is really needed here. I think we don't want that kind of scenario, but at the same time, you know, we'll see how it works out. Gonzaga's got boost on Glover. Glover's still in contact. McCutcheon up 18 places from the back. Incredible.
Yep, absolutely amazing. Showing that once again he doesn't need to qualify seemingly, and he can still compete with the very best. Maybe this championship is still on. 17 points between them. You just never know in this series. He's turned it round before, back in, what was it, season 2 last year?
Yep.
Where he turned it round at the final race at Le Mans even. I know he had assistance with damage from Simon Edwards, but nevertheless, what an amazing championship end that was. We're at Donington Park for the championship finale for the first time this season, by the way, so a different venue, but will it be a similar story? Out of the final corner now for the three leaders, and it very much is just a three. Graham Brown not involved. James Barry going all the way to the pit wall to defend. Simon Edwards has bad flashbacks and so pulls to the other side of the road immediately. And there they are. There's the flashbacks. McCutcheon nearly gets driven straight into by Barry there, who's just trying to use the side draft a bit. Here goes Simon Edwards on the very outside. They're free wide into Cova Grande, and James Barry decides this is not a good idea. I'll let the championship protagonists fight this one out. Around the long right-hander they go, wheel to wheel, into the first braking zone of the circuit, and John McCutcheon takes the lead with just under 3 laps to go.
I had flashbacks. I don't know about anybody else, but I had flashbacks that was going to happen there as well. As Barry come back in, I almost fought contact with McCutcheon. The fireworks and the outlay after that would have been absolutely terrible, and it would have all just gone wrong, but Barry did manage to keep it clean. Gonzaga boosts on Maxwell up 10 places, mind you, as well. He started from the back end of he started in the pits actually, if I remember correctly, for Luke Maxwell, so he's coming up into battling away with Buson. The front three still going at it again here as well, so yeah, I don't think this is going to be done by any form here either, and it's still going to be McCutcheon, Edwards, Barry and Brown.
Yeah. See if it's just between these two at the front, by the way. There's 3 points, by the way, the gap between first and second in this sprint race, in the sprint format system. So that's worth noting before we sort of continue on with this race. Now, out of the final corner for John McCutcheon. He's going to be reeled in very quickly by Simon Edwards. And I think he'll just hand over the lead at this point. I don't think he'll be too disappointed by that, because this time, next lap, it will be the last lap, and he'll hope that he's in the position that Edwards is in right now.
Yeah, it seems that you go, I go scenario is quite strange at the moment there as well, as we got free wide with Gonzaga, Maxwell and Buson momentarily there on the run now, and it is Gonzaga, it is Maxwell. McCutcheon's got past Edwards. I'm going to see how this one pans out. Where's Buson going to go at the moment? You can't bump draft him, mate. It ain't a NASCAR, it's an SR10, and Gonzaga does manage to hold on and get through. For McCutcheon and Edwards, different scenario now. How would you play this? Because it's not the first phase of the straight, it's the second phase where they really get going. Is it going to be to you, to me scenario? You know, you go, I go, I'll let you through here and I'll get you back sort of thing. And are they going to be on the brakes saying, well, I don't want to take it?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a very interesting one indeed. I've got to be honest, I thought that James Barry and Graham Brown were going to be out of this, but clearly they were just hanging back and waiting for the moment to strike, and that's going to add some ambiguity to this one that Simon Edwards and John McCutcheon really don't want. John's waiting. You can see him waiting into the final corner. James Barry's not waiting. He's down the inside of both very nearly. Simon Edwards is going to have to give him some space, and John McCutcheon is too. And now Graham Brown's probably going to have the best run out the final corner of the three of them. Barry slots in between the two championship protagonists, and now we'll look to the inside or outside. He can't really go to the inside because he's boxed in very cleverly by John McHutchison, who steamed through the middle into the lead of this race on the final lap. Simon Edwards is going backwards with every metre, and now he's going to be boxed in as well, because James Barry's on the outside going into the Curva Grande. Graham Brown can't really get involved here, and doesn't really want to by the looks of things either. John McHutchison still leads the way, although he will have to defend from Simon Edwards and Barry on the way in towards the chicane for the first time, the Della Roggia, and there you have it. John McHutchison's in the lead.
Wow. I'm holding my breath every time they go down there, but I can tell you what, it's not finished. I think McHutchison, if he can get away from Barry a little bit, he's got 7/10 at the moment, that might just be enough. Graham Brown, I don't think's going anywhere. I don't think he wants to get involved. I don't think he really even feels he has to, and he's just sitting there in fourth place, covering off, consolidating their position. It's not done. They've got one more straight out the Ascari up to the Curva Parabolica at the end, of course, or the Michele Alboreto Curva Parabolica, if you want to give it its full name. So I think there still could be a move from Simon Edwards, but it depends which way James Barry goes. If he hugs the white line, it's going to be difficult for Edwards to make the outside.
And they've been best of enemies in the past, but James Barry might just become John McHutchison's best friend in a couple of moments' time, because he's holding back his championship rival into the final corner, and John McHutchison is going to complete his last to first challenge at Monza. What an unbelievable race from him as he takes the win here tonight. James Barry's going to be second, and Simon Edwards just hangs on to third to lose just 5 points to John McHutchison. The gap in the championship comes down to 12.
Oh, dearie me. It's getting closer. McHutchison did make it. That's the one thing. He made the session and he made the win, and he's gone from last to first, and it was chaotic. We saw that there was lots of issues going on for some of these guys as well, but at the end of the day, he's here, he's taken the win. Job done. It's part one for John McHutchison. Let's see how he gets on for the rest of it for the future.
Yeah, we certainly will do. What a fantastic race. John McHutchison can't take the championship lead tonight, by the way. He can only gain 15 points, I suppose, with a zero incident race he could, but I can't see any of them happening around here, to be honest with you. So he can't take the championship lead tonight, but he can make it very, very close indeed, going into the final 2 rounds. Jamie Bird, unfortunately, is going to have to start from 15th in this second race. He seems to do better when he starts from the back, because he started well today, and then he's crashed out, unfortunately.
Yeah, but did you see it? It was an epic crash. Come on.
Well, yeah, but
Poor old Paul Clark.
oh, goodness
me. If he's in VR, he's flying.
Yeah, you'd be seriously seasick after that one. It was a spectacular accident. But what an opening race of the evening. Fantastic entertainment from start to finish. And John McHutchison goes from last to first in the race. The top 4 covered by less than a second, with James Barry, Simon Edwards and Graham Brown coming home in that first group. George Gonzaga was the first of the second group drivers to finish 5th. He was ahead of Luke Maxwell, Mike Bousson and Phil Glover, who was there too. David Walton and David Beasley will share the front row of the reverse grid. Phil Jocelyn was 11th, ahead of Michael LeMay, Jeff McIntyre and Paul Crabb. Then Jamie Bird, the final of those who finished on the lead lap. Paul Clark finished 1 lap down. Judgment Ritchie retired, as did Damien G. Paul LeMay and Adam Ty never made the start. But what an opening race that was. Thoroughly enjoyable. I don't get the feeling all the drivers have been thoroughly enjoying themselves, though. There's been a few incidents, I think it's fair to say, and this reverse grid race is normally the more chaotic of the two.
Yeah, I'm just... You know, we thought it was going to be one of the races, but I think this has turned into quite an astoundingly epic race. Trying to go, they were almost 4 wide right at the beginning. Then you go in 3 wide all the time round the Curva Bassano. It was just insane. And, well, they have to be admired for what they've done, because it was absolutely epic.
It was, and the championship gap now comes down to just 12 points. I've got to say, when we logged on earlier this evening and saw that McHutchison wasn't there, I thought, he's not going to turn up and this championship's over. But we've seen him, first of all, log on, and in the last half an hour, we've seen him bring this title fight right back to the forefront of our minds.
Yep, last to first. If anyone can do it, I'll tell you what, John McHutchison can. That was just incredible. He stayed out of trouble. That was the main thing. Staying out of trouble and basically just getting through the carnage and the chaos that commenced in front of him. And he did it really, really well. And you saw that there as well. But the grid's going to be up for race 2 very, very shortly here, Ewan, as well, as we go into this feature race. What are we expecting from this 15-lap feature? I don't know.
It's going to be fantastic, I'm hoping. This is the starting grid for it. David Beasley and David Walters on the front row ahead of Phil Glover and Mike Bousson. Luke Maxeron and George Gonzaga, who finished in the same group, will share row 3. And then it's Graham Brown, Simon Edwards, James Barry and John McHutchison, those who fought for the win, fighting in the lower end of the top 10 to start this race. Phil Justin and Michael LeMay will share row 6 ahead of Jeff McIntyre and Paul Crabb. Jamie Bird and Paul Clark will be next to James McRitchie and Damien G. Don't believe Paul LeMay or Adam Ty will be making the start of this one either here tonight. So, 15 laps it looks like for this race this evening, and this second race of the evening. 5 rounds to go in the Radical Race Series for Season 1 of 2024. What a fantastic opening race it was, and we're ready to do it all over again for the feature race here at Monza. The lights come on now with David Beasley and David Walters on the front row. It's the reverse grid race from Monza, and we are underway, and there's going to be lead changes immediately with Phil Glover making a wonderful start. It's 4 wide already for the lead of this race. They're going to have to squeeze in here through the access road as Mike Bousson takes the lead into the Curva Grande. Let's hope they all make it through here safely as Maxwell's on the very outside, for example. He's very close to getting into the gravel, but it's Mike Bousson who takes the lead immediately here. Glover going backwards through the middle of the pack. Simon Edwards on the very outside. He might well have to cut across the chicane, but it's clean by the looks of things, apart from for Phil Glover, who's dropped down the field.
Oh, what happened? Why? He got the start of his life, did Phil Glover. He was there well into it. I thought he was going to take the lead. His boots up, Beasley's up. Oh, Beasley's round. Stay where you are, Sonner, because otherwise the other people are going to get in contact with you as well. Edwards now with McHutchison, Brown and Bird all fighting it out once more, and Maxwell's in the mix. This is going to be somewhat crazy. Hold on, Paul Clark's gone round again. He's had another incident as Paul. We'll have a quick look here once more for Paul Clark. What did he find himself up to this time here? Oh, there's going to be a recovery. Michael LeMay. Oh, Paul.
Oh, it's the same incident twice for Paul LeMay, for Paul Clark, excuse me. What a disaster for him. And that will be the end of his night, I reckon. Now, John McHutchison's already up to 5th place. Paul Crabb down to 6th, with Edwards in 7th, and he's working his way around. And that is Graham Brown with them as well. James Barry hasn't quite been able to make it with the leaders. John McHutchison is boxing in his championship rival. And what clever driving from John McHutchison. Fantastic. 3 wide into the Curva Grande. This is amazing stuff between these 4. And Graham Brown goes up to 5th.
Oh, John. He boxed in Edwards and allowed Crabb to come through. And there was just nowhere for him to go. You can see in the background Bird there as well. McIntyre made a mistake. He's going to have to cut through. Ooh, there as well. But Paul Crabb now behind Simon Edwards. He's now going to try and hang on to let Johnny Hutch run forward here as well. He's got Brown in front of him. I don't know if that's going to be a big, massive fight, but Richie and Jocelyn, they're tangling. McIntyre and Jocelyn tangling side by side here as well. And wow, this is insane.
We should race here every week. This is fantastic.
I know.
Absolutely amazing. As I say, well, the drivers might be enjoying it, to be fair, in which case we definitely can race here every week, but sometimes when it's all very slipstream based, drivers don't often enjoy it. I mean, it is the Daytona 500 week. I mean, it's very fitting to have such a race that feels like as close as you can get for a road race to one of those super speedway races. Meanwhile, Simon Edwards down the inside of Paul Crabb, and they were leaning on each other into the final turn.
Yeah, they were. Edwards was basically they were both doing it. Edwards and Crab were leaning on each other coming around the final curve of Parabolica. Now Crab's looking at going up the inside again. No McHutchinson for help this time. McHutchinson's pulled out, mind you. He's going to go past Graham Brown up in front as well. Gonzaga and Maxwell are going to take it side by side currently here at the moment. Crab still behind Edwards, surprisingly enough there. I thought he would have got him here as well. And then further down, we got McRitchie side by side with G, Jocelyn and Glover as these guys are scrapping it out once more here. Oh, I don't even know where to point the camera. There's so much action going on.
Yeah, there is a lot happening out there on the circuit at the moment. By the way, Simon Edwards will take this as another drop round if he's not in the top 3 of this race. So just bear that in mind. If Simon Edwards doesn't finish on the podium, this will be a drop round. And John McHutchison will be able to gain up to 15 points in that case, but he needs to win to do that. There he is, working his way past Paul Clark. He's doing his very best to stay out the way, everybody, and does a very good job of doing so. Graham Brown gets ahead of Simon Edwards now. He's ahead of Paul Crabb, and James Barry has made this group as well.
Yeah, I don't think Barry's a fighter, and I don't think he's going to make it easy for Simon Edwards or Paul Crabb, to be blatantly honest. Edwards is pulled out now. He's going to try and go up the inside of Graham Brown coming into the final corner. Brown's left the door open. I am surprised Crabb did not follow him through. But out of these ones, it's going to be that middle draft for Paul Crabb. He is going to get a load of it. He's going to get doubled from the car in front. He's going to get as well. So he's going to be making big strides here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Crabb takes this 3 wide at one point. Boosson and Waters have just still up places there as well. Now he's behind Graham Brown. McHutchinson's getting reeled in a little bit as these guys are coming up on the draft. Graham Brown's going to take the inside. Is he past Edwards? He's not. McHutchinson's just up the road on that run now round. Here we go. McHutchison did not get very far down the road as Edwards is closing in on the braking zone. There's a big send from Barry on the outside. Oh, gee, where's he come from so far back?
He muscles his way through and gets into 8th position out on the circuit for now. The group 1.2 seconds behind Maxwell and Gonzaga, by the way, for this fight for 3rd position. I do wonder whether that group of those who did well in that opening race and finished in the podium places in the opening race, can they get back to the front group and actually contest for the win here, or are Boosson and Walters going to work together to prevent them from catching them?
You ever show me 2 racing drivers that work together?
Well, they are for now.
Well, for a minute, but I don't think it's going to be much longer, to be honest, there either, because they're going to see this other pack closing in. Maxwell's picking them up down the line as well. McHutchison and Edwards are coming. This could easily be a 6-way fight if the guys behind catch the draft, the guys behind them catch the draft, and they're going to be pulling in for an absolute trooper. So here, this could be a very interesting scenario. Waters might have to make a decision. Does he stay or does he go? And at the moment, he's looking at going.
Well, he is going to go through, but there's going to be no contest from Boosson, I don't think. Simon Edwards is going to get past McHutchison as well. Gonzaga gets past Maxwell. So, in fact, there's a lot of working together going on at the moment, or at least a lot of non-fighting. Not in that group behind, though. McHutchison and Edwards can't bear to see the sight of the two of them working together at the moment. McHutchison goes back down the inside again. The front straight's so long, in fact, that you can get overtaken and re-overtake the driver who's just overtaken you.
Like a double overtaking, and you get overtaken and you're getting back again. So some great stellar action from these guys up the front. We've got Paul Crabbs off the side of the circuit there as well. Damien G, Phil Jocelyn and Phil Glover all fighting out with Jeff McIntyre. Actually, where's Glover gone? How's he ended up down there? I thought he was going to do so well here this evening, Phil, my little sweetie. Unfortunately, he's all the way down and 7 seconds off a pack there as well. Looks like Luke Maxwell may have just got a slowdown as Gonzaga goes through, but then again, he's got Boosson and Waters. Now they're very close up the front, so they're not far back at all.
Yep, they are not. 1.4 seconds a gap between 4th and 5th now, so it looks like a 4-car leading group, but can it extend to 9? Well, no, because we've lost Crabb from the group, but we also might be about to lose Graham Brown from the group as well. He's teetering on the edge of losing the slipstream. Gonzaga and Maxwell very close out the final corner together right now. Let's see if they're going to gain anything on the two in front. It looks like they're pretty much there now. They're 3/4 of a second away from the two leaders. Boosson and Walters are going to exchange position again now. Although does Walters defend? No. You see, he stays to the racing line. Bousson goes through on the inside, and they just keep the pace high. These two aren't. Maxwell's going up the inside, which is a bit puzzling on Gonzaga, but he works his way through to third place while he sees the two leaders ahead of him battling briefly. That is not going to be something that materialises, though, and so they get single file before the Della Roggia. So it's the top four together, chased by Edwards, McCutcheon and Barry, the podium drivers from race 1.
Yeah, Barry there as well behind McCutcheon. He's trying to personally just work together. I think Edwards has said a couple of times that he would love to have been able to work together. He's gone off the side of the circuit there, though. That's going to allow McCutcheon to get very close now on that run up into Ascari here. Take the inside, John. Take the inside. He doesn't want to. It's the you to you to me. Bam!
Oh no! Contact! Oh, and Edwards is off. Edwards is off, and McCutcheon's going to have to be careful. He's going to go through, and Edwards is going to drop positions, but that could be talked about after the race. And Edwards might have damage as well. So Edwards gets a poor run off Lesmo too. That much is certain. But I think McCutcheon doesn't really want to go through. So is Edwards also lifting off here to try and make sure that McCutcheon goes through? Because look how close they are. McCutcheon doesn't want to go through. And Barry sails past both of them.
Well
and there's the contact. Edwards brakes for the turn. McCutcheon doesn't quite react in time because he's so close behind the driver ahead of him. And Edwards is off the road. Now, does he have damage? He might have some detrimental damage, Simon Edwards. He's outside the top 10 right now as Maxwell steams through to the lead of this race, by the way. The top four are very much in the conversation for this race win. But what about Simon Edwards? Does he have some rear suspension damage? Well, he's not in the pit lane. He is, however, outside of the top 10.
I'm worried, you know. I don't think I'm worried for John. I think I'm a little bit worried for Simon Edwards there, because it looked like he hit the brakes well early. Now, I'm not saying he did, because I'm not in the car and I don't know for sure, but it did look like he was braking well before the 100-meter board. And we'll have a look here with John McCutcheon this time, why James Barry does it, because Simon Edwards looked very, very early. Teammate McCutcheon nestling in. He's sitting in, he's not going to overtake him. So where did he brake now, Edwards? Oh, I don't know. I don't know from my perspective. Maybe it might have looked different there as well, but I'm not entirely sure. Gonzaga's dropped off a little bit here, and now we got Bousson, now we got Waters, and now we got Maxwell. Waters is going to try and send it out the inside, but we'll stay on board here with Mike Bousson. As you can see, watch this draft. He is going to make an absolute beeline for them.
That was fantastic from Bousson. The line there was absolutely perfect. So he'll keep the slipstream of Walters, and he'll steam straight through here to the lead. He's got to be careful he gets into the lead too early here, because he might get drafted past again here. He's just got to protect the inside. Oh, Walters slides straight in front of Maxwell, who doesn't take any notice of it. Goes to the outside instead and actually boxes in Walters for his troubles. Now goes to the outside through the Curva Grande. It's a long way round there, though, through a flat-out corner. So he's got to be careful, but he will be on the inside for the Della Roggia if he can stay there. Gonzaga very much back involved again with the slipstream, and Maxwell hangs on to second place behind Bousson, the new race leader.
Bousson's out in front as well, but he has got Luke Maxwell, David Waters and Gonzaga, Barry and McCutcheon trying to close up 1.68 seconds here. Edwards is all the way down in 12th, battling away with Jeff McIntyre, and Bousson must have come to slow down because he's just gone from first to fourth.
Bousson. And does he lose the group is the more pressing issue and worry. I don't think so. But he is allowing that second group to catch up. Now, John McCutcheon is currently in 6th place. If he finishes here, he will remain the same amount of points behind Simon Edwards as he was at the start of the day because of the drop rounds and the way that has worked. But with every position that he gains points on Simon Edwards.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and get up and past James Barry. Barry's going to have to try and get past Bousson because we know they're in the same team, the Radline boys. So if they don't I'd be surprised if Buson, if Barry does get up there, he doesn't hold him up here to allow John to come back through, because I'd be very surprised if they didn't do that. Maxwell all the way to the left-hand side now as well. Buson going in for it again, over through Gonzaga. Gonzaga's picking up from Waters. Now McCutcheon. Barry's going to be just nearly teetering on the edge there as well. He's now got the draft. Waters has pulled him in. Now he's going to be able to go through. He is at Buson. Is he going to be able to get past on Gonzaga? He's not. Waters is there, Maxwell's there, Barry and McCutcheon, just Ewan. They are literally so close to this draft, they can almost touch it.
And they're very much there now. Barry's had a great run through the De La Rogia, and so he is on the back of Mike Buson now. And John McCutcheon very much there too. We've got 6 for the lead with 6 laps to go at the line. This is going to be a big race from here. If McCutcheon wins, he gains 15 points on Edwards on the day, by the way. So he will bring that gap right down in the championship to just a couple of points. He won't, of course, get the pre-bonus points for not having any incidents in this race, because he has already hit the back of Simon Edwards, of course.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the stewards go with that. As well.
Yeah,
that's going to be a very interesting scenario where they look at. They've got to be looking at various angles of it, whether or not it was an early break, whether or not the lift. We saw it, the me to you scenario, you know, for Stafford and Hamilton all over again for the DRS. That's what we had. McCutcheon did lift, and he stayed in behind Edwards, and you saw Barry go through. He wasn't even on the brakes at Barry's point. So did Edwards break a little bit earlier? Who knows who's going to work it out? To be honest, we'll just let the stewards get on with it and see what they do here as well. Gonzaga, Buson, Barry and McCutcheon, all teammates. Gonzaga and Barry, Buson and McCutcheon, and as Waters tries to go side by side with Maxwell.
Yep, it's going to be through for Waters. Maxwell lets him have that one, actually, into the Curva Grande. Will Gonzaga go through as well? Maybe. Looks like he's on his way through here. And Buson maybe too. No, they all sort of slot into line again. Barry and McCutcheon really close in this time. So they're right there now. You can see the gap's very much diminished between all these drivers. We're in the final third of the race, so we will be very shortly. And it's going to be a very, very exciting final third as well. What a race we've seen so far. Calmed down a little bit in the last few moments, but we're in for a grandstand finish.
Yeah, I don't think we're done. I can safely say this is not over with these 6 guys up the front there. Craven, McRitchie also finding out. Edwards and McIntyre. Don't know if Edwards has got damage, because he's not really clearing McIntyre currently at the moment. They're running side by side. It looks like McIntyre might just still be able to hold him on pace there as well. But Edwards is trying. He slots in. Edwards did go through there on McIntyre, but McCutcheon and Barry and Buson, you can see Buson getting out the way. He's got out the way. He got out the way.
Oh no!
Again.
And Buson's off as well. McCutcheon hesitates a little bit here, and Buson spins for a second time. So there's been contact again here with John McCutcheon, who may well be seeing his championship fight go away as a result of incidents. Now it looks a little bit, well, careless from first view, but let's have another one here into the final corner. So Barry, is he lifting off here? I'm not entirely sure, but there he's going to hit the brakes now. And McCutcheon doesn't react there either. Buson doesn't react either, by the way, and hits McCutcheon too.
I don't know. It seems so bizarre that I can guarantee Buson hit McCutcheon. That's what makes me worry when I talk about the brakes issue. Do you know when I said about braking early? Because if Buson's hit McCutcheon, he wasn't expecting Barry to brake either. I'm partial to think that people here are the masters of their own downfall, not only from obviously McCutcheon, but Barry and Edwards. They've got to, if the stewards are going to go back, look at where they're braking every other lap to look where they braked on that one, because you cannot make a judgment without looking at that, especially as the fact that Buson wasn't expecting it either, because he hit McCutcheon as well.
I don't know, I think McCutcheon's going to land himself in some trouble for those, I've got to be honest. I think he could get himself in trouble. I mentioned earlier on that Maxwell also got docked 5 championship points for his incidents at the Road Atlanta races 1 week ago. Now, they don't matter so much to Luke Maxwell because he's fighting for third in the championship, and although that's a close fight, it's not like he's fighting for the title. McCutcheon certainly is, and 5 points would really put a dent in his charge.
Yeah, it definitely would, but I am going to worry and wonder which way they're going to go as we're going three wide here with the guys up front. Gonzaga's on the outside, Maxwell backs off. Walters says, thank you, I'm still going to go for it here, and he does do it there. Walters still battling away up front with Gonzaga at the moment. Is that coming down now? Who's going to be able to get this? Who's going to be later on the brakes? It looks like Gonzaga is going to hold it. Walters is going to slot in behind him. Nothing doing from them guys. Graham Brown, Jamie Bird battling out. Then we've got behind that Crabb and McRitchie, then Bousson and McIntyre. Paul Clark out the way again, and then Edwards has lost McIntyre this time and is literally driving around on his own. Damien G and Phil Jocelyn are also side by side coming into the chicane there as well at the Variante, and Jocelyn does make it through. So I think it's going to be close. I'm not defending anyone. I just think that they've got to take into consideration where the laps before was broke to where he was then, because for Bousson to go up to the back of McCutcheon to hit Barry, I don't think any of them was expecting him to break, to be blatantly honest. So it's going to be a tough one for the stewards.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, the stewards are going to see it a lot more times than we will here on the broadcast, so we'll leave it to them and report back next week. Down the inside then for David Walters, there's a few drivers here looking to take a first race win at Monza this evening. The first race winner, John McCutcheon, a long way back in fourth place at this point. Reigning champion Luke Maxwell is here though. He's watching a battle at the moment between George Gonzaga and David Walters. Walters went through in the final corner. Gonzaga goes through again on the front straight, and Maxwell's just hanging back. Wonder when he's going to strike here, because there's only 3 laps to go, including the one we're on at the moment.
Don't need a rush, does he? Let's be real, the draft is that strong. He definitely does not need to rush. Brown and Bird have just swapped places there as well. G and Jocelyn would be Bird and Brown again, mind you, have just swapped it back again. So they've swapped places twice already. There's no rush for Maxwell. We know the draft is strong. He's coming round into Lesmo 1 now. Is he going to be able to get through on Lesmo 2? He's not going to be able to really make a difference. He's just got to sit there and ride the draft for the next 2 laps, to be honest.
Well, is he going to be leaving it too late if he gets there on the last lap, or is he going to steam through on both of them? It's an interesting conundrum. It's not quite as simple as we see at some other circuits. For example, at Daytona, where you want to be second going through the bus stop chicane on the last lap because you will draft past before the line, especially in these kind of cars, although we don't go there very often, to be honest. It's a bit different round here because there are so many chances to go through. There are so many positions where if you're leading, you have to go on the defence on the last lap, so it's not as simple as just waiting for the last lap.
Yeah, it looks like Walters is going to take it here as well. So David Walters goes up the inside of the curve of Parabolica. Now what's Maxwell going to do here? He's dropped 4 tenths at the moment, not massive. I'm sure he'll pull it back in going down the straight. You can pick it up yet, about 4.5 here as well. He's trying to go past on Walters. Walters there with alongside Gonzaga. Gonzaga now takes the lead. Walters now switches in between them, but here comes Maxwell on board with him here as well. Gonzaga side by side with Walters. We get a bird's eye view here, Ewan as well. This could be a side by side battle right up into the second variante here as well.
And sliding straight in front of Walters there is George Gonzaga onto the leading position again. Down the inside he goes, and he continues on in the lead. Walters gets into second, and Maxwell's still there in third. He's clearly waiting for the last lap.
Oh yeah, he's not rushing. He is not rushing this whatsoever here is Maxwell. He's too clever. He's too clever to rush it, Ewan, and I think he's just got no reason to. So it's going to be interesting to see what Maxwell does. I can tell you that much, because I think if he does manage to make it on the final lap, he would do an absolute stellar job in making it as well. So let's see what pans out as we're going into the final lap very, very shortly.
We are, and the big moment of this race, arguably, on the front straight. Maxwell needed a better run through Ascari there, really, to get a bit closer through the final corner, but he might be helped out by Walters going down the inside anyway, and he is. So Walters goes into the lead into the final turn, although only remains side by side with Gonzaga, maybe to just diminish the possibility that he can get a run out of the final turn. But it's going to be Luke Maxwell with the speed on both of them as they take the white flag for the last time. He is a few car lengths away though. Walters leads over the line for the penultimate time, but it's going to be Gonzaga who takes the lead. Walters slips back into the slipstream, and here comes Luke Maxwell. He's in the slipstream now. He's looking to the inside. Walters defends from him. Maxwell will go to the outside here, but he's boxed in. He can't go either way. Walters to the inside through the Curva Grande. Maxwell looking for a way through, and he's going to have to find it on the outside here. He forces Gonzaga to the inside. He breaks once again to avoid Walters into the Della Roggia. Gonzaga takes the lead. He breaks late, and he takes the lead.
Yeah, Gonzaga did there as well. Maxwell had to check up coming out of the Variante as well. So unfortunately for Maxwell, he did have to check up on Walters there because Gonzaga had come through. Walters got a slow exit, and then Maxwell had to check up on him. Through Lesmo 2 they go. Coming now into the Ascari. Who's going to get this now? Walters is on the defense once more. But Maxwell pulls out. Gonzaga gives him the draft. Is that going to be a mistake? Has he still got one more corner to go? Is Maxwell going to do it? Is George Gonzaga going to hang on? Is David Walters going to come through? We're going to find out in about 20 seconds time here.
Oh, Maxwell got a superb run out of Ascari, but he's going to be on the outside for the final turn. This is the race now. This is what it's going to come down to. Oh, it's a look to the inside from Walters. Oh, he's hit Gonzaga. He's hit Maxwell as well. Oh, David Walters is going to wait for the first recoverer to take the win. Is it going to be John McHutchison? Oh, he's going to come through. Here is John. He's going to try and take this, but George Gonzaga's just going to get there, is he? He's going to have the legs to the line. Wow! George Gonzaga wins the race by a tenth of a second after contact in the final turn. Unbelievable finish.
Oh my, oh my, oh boy, oh boy. That was a finish for the ages there as well. And you know, that contact, none of them showed up there for me to even pick up where it all went wrong. All we're seeing is McHutchison at the moment going past. I'll have to try and go back, but I don't work out how far back I can actually go here. Nope, I need to, I'm going to have to do it, but I don't really want to. Just ignore what's happening on your screen at the moment there as well as we go backwards. I can't get back far enough, unfortunately, or at the right possible moment here for David Walters. The worst thing for Walters wasn't this, right? It was literally, watch what Gonzaga does to him. He squeezes Maxwell. Walters then dives upside. Gonzaga throws a block at him right there. Puts Walters off. Walters hits Gonzaga. Maxwell just Tokyo drifts it like an absolute celeb. Gonzaga goes running round, just misses out on the gravel, and then manages to hold on. And then you've got this man, the flying Scotsman, like a freight train coming through the middle. He's seen the win, he's seen the win, he's seen the win. Oh, he was just so close.
He was very close. And in that exchange, by the way, gained another 7 points. So he just gained 10 on the day to Simon Edwards, who ends up finishing outside the top 10, I believe. We'll have a look at the final race results. Edwards finished ninth, excuse me. But George Gonzaga, the race winner, there's no doubt about that. 4 drivers within a second again. John McHutchison second, ahead of Luke Maxwell and David Walters. Jamie Bird had a good finish. Of course he did, because he started terribly. He's 5th. And it's Graham Brown who finishes 6th, ahead of Paul Crabb, Mike Bruce, and they were all in the group. Simon Edwards limped home to 9th. That's only 22 points, which means this is going to be a drop round for him. Once again, that's no surprise, I don't think, to anybody. It's going to be Damien G running up the top 10, with James McRitchie making it to the end this time. Phil Glover recovered to 12th after his first lap incident. Jeff McIntyre finished 13th. Phil Justin, Paul Clark were 1 lap down. James Barry was 5 down, with David Beasley and Michael LeMay retiring very early on. But what a finish that was to the race. Unbelievable, really. And just a remarkable round of racing, in fact.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. You know, you're never going to see racing like that again. And if this one is on the official calendar, I might just have to go and dive on there. I can tell you that much, because I think it's going to be incredible to drive that. However, the officials are going to get quite scary.
I think they already are. It's going to be very scary indeed. Let's chat to George Gonzaga at the end of that one then. Feature race winner from race 2. We've just interrupted his conversation. I'm very sorry. Welcome in. Good to have you with us. How was that finish to that race? We saw some wonderful racing throughout, of course, but it all came down to that last lap. Just tell us about it from your perspective.
Yeah, like, oh my God, I was so sweaty. It was amazing. Yeah, I knew I had to play the strategy. I knew I had a killer setup, and they couldn't pass me. I could reach max speed without the draft. But yeah, I had to play, keep the inside, defend as much as I could. I knew David was trying his luck on the last 4 laps, on the inside on the last corner, and I knew I had to defend it. And I guess, yes, stewards will have to look into that. In my defense, I tried to react as soon as I saw him move, so it's not like I tried to push him out of the road. I did try to defend the inside line. That's going to be argument, but let's see how it goes. So I'm not sure if I should celebrate or not, but I'm happy. I'll take it.
Oh, George, celebrate, for God's sake. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
Come on. You blocked him. You threw a block at him, mate. That's it. At the end of the day, everybody does it. You do it in anything else. And with the Daytona 500, you do it rather well as well. So fair play to you, George. Celebrate as much as you want until the stewards tell you differently.
Exactly, yeah. I'll drink the champagne, don't worry.
Yes, mate.
Yes. But that's good, it's good.
I don't think it'll be premature, I've got to say. Let's talk about the racing as a whole around this circuit. Sometimes I get the feeling that drivers, especially in races like this, where there's so much action and there's so much going on in terms of not only incidents, but also draft opportunity and the fact that you can stay in groups very easily. Sometimes drivers don't tend to like it. Did you enjoy racing around here tonight?
I did, because it was the biggest challenge in terms of setting up the car ideally to fight that draft, and that's why I was working the whole week. And in race 1, I had the tall gear. Everyone was going on standard, but I knew the draft would play along, and my car was so slick. It was insane how so aerodynamic. There was no aero at all. No friction, tried to minimize. So I worked so hard in the week, and I know it would come to play. And I think you can see that because I shared the setup with James as well. So I love this track in that sense of it kind of pushed me to work more on the setups, because I knew in the end it would come down to the best car. And, I think it paid off.
Certainly did. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, 2 people, to my teammate James Barry. So yeah, it's good. I think you guys saw the new livery. So shout out to him to winning the first lap, and a shout out to David and Luke. But David mostly, I guess. He's a really nice guy, and I know it was really tight fight, and we always have immense fun. But yeah, coming down to that last quarter, I'm not sure if I did something wrong or not. I don't know. I tried to defend, but shout out to him. He was put a really good fight, and he's an amazing driver, and I really like racing with him. So a shout out to him, and to Luke as well. Yep.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win here tonight, George. That I think will stand personally. We hope that it does, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Cool. See you guys. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, George Gonzaga. There, the race winner tonight at Monza. Let's also chat to John McCutcheon, who finished second in that one, but first in the opening race of the night as well. Welcome in, John. Good to have you with us. With tonight's results as they stand, you've reduced the championship margin to just 7 points now, but do you think those results will stand with some of the incidents you had in that second race?
No, I was just typing it to James Barry. I just watched the replay. It looks like I got it wrong. He breaks a lot earlier than I do, and it just caught me out, so I'll apologise to him for that one. I don't.
What about the one with
I'm not sure what happened with Simon. I'll need to look at that one. I don't know.
I've got the thing for you, John, as well is. Did you think? Hello, mate. Sorry. Hi, John. How are you?
Good, mate. Good.
Did you think that both parties broke a little bit early? Because I know you were fighting for the draft, right? And you were, both of you were battling. You were lifted. Nobody really wanted to go through. Did you think they braked early? Because I'm starting to wonder, with Mike hitting you up the back, I'm starting to wonder whether or not Barry did.
Like I say, he broke earlier than I do. I don't know if that's his usual breaking point. I really don't know. I would need to look at every lap, which I'm not going to do. You know what happens. To me, that looked like they braked early. Not saying it was intentional or anything like that, but it just caught me out. I've not got the reactions of a cat.
No, you're old, mate, and none of us do.
I'm oldish.
Don't need those kind of reactions in bowls, I suppose, do you?
Hey, enough of that.
To be honest with you, I don't think even a cat could have responded in time. So I
No.
I'm not heaping the blame onto you there. In terms of the start of the evening, John, you arrived very late again. What's the outlook for the last 2 rounds? Are you going to be able to qualify? Are you going to be here for the races? What's the plan?
What is there? 2 more rounds? 3?
2 more.
2 more. Well, hopefully I'll make one. Qualifying. The other one will be a 50-50, I guess. So just take it as it is, I guess. But that was really fun tonight. The racing was brilliant there tonight. A lot of thinking involved, going down the straight. It was just a lot of people were doubting it, but no, it was good. I think everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope so. We certainly enjoyed it in the broadcast booth. That's certainly the case. Is there anyone I'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
A shout out to Team Redline. I hope my boys do well on Sunday night, starting in the new league. So good luck to those boys.
What's happening on Sunday night?
I shall let James explain that one.
We'll talk about that off broadcast, Leon.
Okay. Why? This is weird. Okay.
You'll see why. We'll
everyone's very. Everyone's suddenly acting very weird.
Move on.
Okay. Well, anyway,
nothing to see here.
That's for later. Thanks very much, John. We'll chat to you hopefully next week as well.
Thanks, Ewan. Cheers, Bob.
Thanks very much. I feel a bit weird now. What's going on?
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, but okay. Well, anyway.
Just get Luke in for a chat.
Yeah, but the thing is, how many people are sort of in on this that I'm not? Anyway, let's move on.
Just
Luke
move on.
Maxwell is joining us now. Hopefully, he's not going to tell us about anything that we can't talk about.
No.
And chat to us about the race. Luke, welcome in. Good to have you with us. As I say, you were hanging back for so long in that race in third place, watching David and George do their thing ahead of you. And in the end, you couldn't quite make it work for a race win, for a multitude of reasons, of course. But if you were to do that last 5 laps again, would you hang back so much?
Yeah. George was running 0 or 1-0 wing, so he was definitely quicker on the straights. So I would have had to have sat behind him anyway. There was no real chance to get away. I think my only chance was early on, wasn't it? I think I got 0.7 gap, but even then it was not going to be enough if they, unless they started battling right behind me. So I thought sit tight, wait till the last lap. And I was trying to work out where I wanted to be. I wanted to try and get in front of David at the start of the lap, and then try and get George, later on. And it almost worked out like that. And I was thinking, I fancied myself into that last into the parabolica there at the end, thinking, yeah, I think I'll be all right here if I get late on the brakes and. George forced George into a tight line. I could probably get on the gas a bit earlier and beat him to the line because although he was quicker, he was a bit slower getting up to speed. So I fancied it. Unfortunate, these things happen. So overall, I think starting from the pits in race 1 and finishing sort of P3 race 2, I can't complain, can I?
I suppose not. I mean, what's your view on that last corner incident? Just sort of overall, because it was very dramatic, I've got to say, and for one driver to send 2 into sort of a half-spin gravel situation as what happened is a bit odd. So what was what is your reading of it now that you've 5 minutes or so have passed?
Obviously frustrating for me because I was just caught in it really, and there was a bit of net code as well. So I think it is what it is, and I wouldn't want to be a steward next week because they're going to have their work cut out, aren't they?
They are. That is definitely.
It could be game changing though with them stewards. I've got to be honest. Whatever decision they make could really affect the championship going forward, especially with the McCutchinson stuff as well. So, I think you're right. I wouldn't want to be a steward for this week either, to be honest.
No, I mean, even with yourself, Luke, you're battling with Mike and James for third place. I don't know how much you're sort of valuing that, or how much you're valuing just good round and race results at this stage in the season. But it could be important in that respect as well. So there you go. I mean, how was it starting from the pit lane this time around? I know you had to do that as a result of Road Atlanta.
Naughty boy.
It was like a scene out of Platoon because everywhere I looked there was explosions and bombs. And I was just thinking, it was all going in a bit slow motion.
I like to point out, Luke, as well.
Had the music playing in my head.
Ewan hasn't probably watched that movie, but it's just us old people that know what that is.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Well, it's not because of my age; it's because I don't watch films, but or maybe both.
But all rubbish now.
So there you go. So no, you are right, James. I did not understand that reference, but I can picture it. So there we are. Thanks very much, Luke, for coming to chat to us. Is anyone like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'm going to give a shout out to the stewards. You know, they've got a tough job, and it's going to be a tricky one this week. So
It is.
shout out to them, because all fair's right. It's going to take a lot of time and effort to go through and steward that, really. So yeah, shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure who they are actually, but
No, me
yeah,
neither,
shout out to them.
Oh, that was my next question. I didn't know if we knew who they were.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what was it that I'm not supposed to talk about, by the way?
Oh, nothing. Can't talk about
Okay.
it.
I don't know what I'm not supposed to talk about either, which makes it very difficult, actually.
I wish I knew.
But
I think
I'm glad I'm not the only one now. I feel a lot better.
might have a clue, Luke, but let's just yes or no, are you racing Sunday?
I
You
don't
can't give
know.
you a yes or no.
I don't know.
Right, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Don't say any more. I'll talk to you about the rest of it after.
Oh, a yes or a no. So I am in the dark on my own. That's
you
great.
are in the dark, yes.
I love this. This is great. Thanks for coming to chat to us, Luke. It's been great once again, and hopefully we'll see you next week as well.
Cheers, boys.
Take
Have a
care,
good one.
mate.
Thanks very much. Nick
Bye.
Maxwell there chatting to us at the end of tonight and making me feel even worse. Let's welcome in Phil Glover, who has had a pretty decent evening here at Monza tonight. Welcome in, Phil. Good to have you with us. Fair to say that race 1 was going very well for you and ended up very well for you. In fact, you were inside the top 5 at one point, finished inside 8th place, I think, certainly inside the top 10. And it was a generally very good first race for you. How did you find it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I didn't do any practice this week, and actually it's probably done me a bit of a favour, because I wasn't too, there was no, I kind of thought, I'm not going to get on that well, so it took a lot of pressure off, I think. I thought I might have been, at one point I think I was running 6th, and then a couple of people passed me, and then that dropped me down to 8th, I think it was. Second race, started 3rd, got actually a good start off the line, but then I don't know whether that to lift or something, but anyway, I was one of 3 or 4, I think, coming into the first corner. I thought this isn't going to work out, so I slowed down, let them go on, and then into that chicane, first left, I got front lock up, so that meant me going straight on, and it kind of. I think I also got some damage on the front end, because from there onwards, my times were, I just couldn't pick up any time. I was just losing time to people in front.
How did you find the race? How did you find the racing overall here tonight?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a good track to use, actually. Obviously, it was quick, but you had to think a little bit more, I think, particularly with the long straights. I guess those at the front would have to be thinking about not necessarily wanting to be first on the final lap. I enjoyed it.
You're absolutely right. That was the discussion going on up front. There's no doubt about that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before I let you go, Phil?
Yourselves and everybody in the league as usual. And look forward to speaking to you next week. Where are we next week?
We are at Mount Panorama again this week. Since you're on every single season ever of this.
I do like
Unofficials.
I do like that track. There's a lot of jeopardy there, isn't there? So it favours the brave of heart, I think.
There's no doubt about that. Phil, thanks so much for coming to chat to us again, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks very much. Phil Glover there chatting to us at the end of 24 laps of racing. An enthralling action as well. Paul Clark is asking for awards for flying through the air more times than anybody else ever in this series, and he might well get it after this round of the championship. What a fantastic round 10 it has been. Thoroughly enjoyable. Such great racing. Some of the best we've seen all season.
Yeah, absolutely. It was epic here. This is such a good track. And I think I think this needs to be on the calendar every year, because this was just absolutely amazing. But you are right. We're off to Bathurst again next week for our perils once more for the 6th season in a row. So let's see how that one goes. But yeah, I think the stewards this week, whoever they may be, or they shall not be named, because we ain't got a clue, to be honest, I think have got a tough one. They're going to have to go through lap by lap, I think. It's going to be tough.
It certainly is. There's no doubt about that. Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody here today. It's been great to have you with us for this round of the championship. And what a fantastic round it has been. Just 4 races to go now in the championship. And if results stand, the gap is down to single figures between John McCutcheon and Simon Edwards. Just 7 points separate them with 4 rounds to go and a lot of racing ahead of them as well. Bathurst coming up next week, followed by Donington Park for our finale. Make sure you subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel so you do not miss those rounds of this championship and all the other rounds of all the other championships that are going on, including more racing later on tonight, of course. But for now, from myself, Ewan O'Leary, James Parfitt alongside me as well. Until we see you in 1 week's time at the Mountain, it's goodbye for now.